Aloha, hockey fans! I'm Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and you are on the Blue Note Fan Report. Yes, it is game day. This is the program that is by a fan, for the fans, and about you, the fans. This is a big day. It begins. The championship defense begins. Our Blues are going for it. Today they're going to face off against the Colorado Avalanche in Edmonton at 6:30 or 5:30 St. Louis time, 12:30 Hawaii Standard Time. I'm excited and I'm ready to talk about this game. Normally I talk about the last game, but it was an exhibition game and I don't give a shit about the Blackhawks. Sorry, just don't. So, we learned a few things yesterday during day one. We learned that the refs really miss blowing their whistles. So, they're going to call everything. Now, I got to admit, they weren't ticky-tack. A lot of the penalties were penalties. There were a few questionables, but the most of them were penalties. I mean, how often have you seen two penalty shots in the same game and one in overtime? It doesn't happen that often. So right now, special teams are going to be a huge thing. The Blues, for the most part, have had a very good special teams. They were third best in the league at 24.3%. But they were 18th on the penalty kill. This is important because the Avalanche 19th on the power play, but 13th on the penalty kill, right? The Blues were going to have to score goals on the power play. Going to have to. And then when they're at short, they're going to have to tighten up the penalty kill and really work hard. Another thing to look out for is going to be Tarasenko. Can he get that rust off? I mean, when he was on the second unit on the power play, he was wide open and nobody was getting him the puck. They're not used to playing with him yet. They got to get back to it. He's got to get the rust off. He's got to get pucks on net. Pucks on net, Tarasenko. Get him on net. And then the other thing is the Blues are going to have to contain the McKinnon line. You know, this guy is all world. He's great. He does a lot for Colorado. Contain him. Figure out a way to get down that speed. I talked to Jamie Rivers. One of the things that he said is the Blues have got to tighten up defensively, especially in the neutral zone and the offensive zone. Too many bad turnovers. Their passing was not sharp or crisp, and it really hurt the Blues. It's got to get better, and they need to forecheck. So looking at these matchups, right? The Blues are 2-2 against Colorado, and Colorado's 2-2 against us. Blues beat Colorado 3-1 on October 21st at home. They also beat them 5-2 at home on December 18th, and then they lost two away games, 7-3 and 5-3 on January 2nd and January 18th during that little skid they had. I know it's been a while since we played, but the Blues were playing pretty good hockey when the break came. They were 8-2-0. Colorado was 7-2-1. This is going to have to be some really tight stuff. So I talked about the power play. St. Louis 24.3 third, Colorado 19.1 19th. Penalty kill, Blues 79.4 for 18th. Colorado 81.4 for 13th. That's going to be a battle. Face-off, St. Louis is ahead, 51.6 for 6th, 49% for Colorado for 18th. Goals for and goals against. This is pretty important. Goals for per game, St. Louis is at 3.14, where Colorado is at 3.37. That's, but here's the difference, and it's goals against. St. Louis is at 2.68, and Colorado is at 2.71. If you let Colorado score, they're going to score in bunches. You have to keep them from scoring in bunches. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. You cannot let them score in bunches. Now, normally I talk about who's hot and all of that, but, it's been 4 months since we played. The players you got to look out for. On St. Louis, Pietrangelo, O'Reilly, Shen, Steen. On Colorado, Landeskog, Gerard, Namastiskov, or however the frick you say his name. Goalies. Goalies are going to be important. Colorado is not named a starting goalie. It will be either Grubauer or Francoeur. Grubauer we faced all 4 times. Francoeur's been pretty damn good. Bennington will probably be in the net with Allen backing him up. I'm looking forward to this game. It's going to be hot. Now, for goalie comparison, normally I do that, but today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to bring in a guest, an expert. Please welcome Dusty Imoo, former goalie coach for the Colorado Avalanche and the KHL. Please give a great big Blue Note fan report. Welcome to Dusty Imoo. Dusty, did I say that
right? Well, my whole career has always said Emu, but it's Emo.
Emo. I should have known better living in Japan as long as I did. Dusty was the former goalie coach for the LA Kings and in the KHL. I thought having Dusty on to talk a little bit about today's game and the goalies that we could face, Grubauer, Francoeur, and then Bennington and Arnett. So, whoops.
Sorry, bud. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. So, have you had a little bit of chance to watch Grubauer and Francoeur, Dusty, and see some of their tendencies?
Yeah, actually, more so with Francoeur, because he was, when I was doing development with the Kings, he was down in Colorado with the Eagles a lot, and so I got to see quite a bit of him when I was working development with the Kings. So I know a lot about his game. Grubauer not as much. I've watched him play, but not as closely per se. Both goalies, they're very good goalies, but they're quite different actually in how they play. I have no idea who they plan on starting. Do you?
No, they said they hadn't. Grubauer is 2-2 against the Blues this year. He was injured. I know he played pretty well during the practice game, so I'm guessing it's probably going to be Grubauer, but I mean, that's my guess, and I've asked, trust me, I've asked every contact I have, and no one's saying anything.
Yeah, it's a really interesting time right now with the way this setup is.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool though, because this of all times, anybody could win this.
Yeah. So could you tell us what the differences between those two goalies are, between Grubauer and between Francoeur?
Grubauer, in my opinion, is a lot more positional. Francoeur has he's very technically sound as well, but he has a lot more reflex and athleticism in his game. Can make some really big saves. Grubauer to me plays a lot more methodical, if you will.
Yeah, kind of like, I mean, it sounds like it's almost like Bennington and Allen, where I think Bennington's probably more of the technical goalie and Allen's a little more of the athletic goalie.
Yeah, in a small way, yeah. I think Allen is kind of close to Bennington in that sense. Yeah. They're both pretty technical goalies, but Bennington, on the extreme, very methodical about how he plays.
Yeah, Bennington's attitude is very nonchalant. Reminds me a lot of Grant Fuhr. I mean, when I talked to Grant Fuhr, he talked a lot about, if the puck got in the net, he was pissed that it got in the net, he threw it to center ice, skated over, skated back, and that was the end of it. Where Allen seems to, unfortunately, get upset when a goal goes in, and it creates some distrust between him and the team. I mean, that's gone away a little bit, but that's what I see between those two. With today's game, blue shooters, what should they be shooting at? Should they be shooting top corners, glove side, blocker side? What do you think is going to be What should Blues fans be looking at with the Blues shooters against the Avalanche goalies?
Well, I do. mm, My advice with Grubauer would be get a lot of traffic in front of him. From what I've seen of his game, he doesn't do quite as well with some of the traffic and how he handles it. Because, like I said, he's very positional. If he can see the puck, he's a good goalie. So uh, it's very cliche and it's easy to say get in front of the goalie, but some goalies handle traffic quite well, and even if you get traffic in front, they handle it well. Whereas I think that could be a good advantage for your team. I assume this is your team, right?
I'm a Blues fan.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be one for sure. And I would say the upper part of the net is a safer bet with him as opposed to down low,
Yeah.
because he does seal up down low pretty well. So traffic and get the puck up for sure.
So, as a goalie, I'm sure that you've studied shooters, and Vladimir Tereshchenko probably has one of the best quick releases in the game. What would your advice be to a goalie going up against him to try and defeat him or seal away from that quick release?
That's a tough one. He's pretty. When guys are that good, and you can try to play a bit of the the bait game with him and try to get him to shoot at stuff, but he shoots very quickly, and sometimes it's tough to just kind of lead him to where you want to shoot. So my advice with guys like that, uh, it doesn't take rocket science. Get some depth on him and get your angles down right, because if he hits the corners, he's pretty accurate, so it's tough. So you definitely have to maybe take a step out on him and take away the angles, because I don't care how fast you are. Some of these guys like Tarasenko to shoot, you don't have time to use your reactions. So angles and depth are kind of key.
Well, I guess the last question is: you've got the four goalies. Who would you put in net today for each team? Allen and Bennington on the Blues, Grubauer and Francoeur on the Avalanche. Who would you put in net and why?
Okay, take this with a grain of salt, because I don't know either one of them, any of them. So, and their game where they're at right now is huge. I mean, this is a weird time, and how they felt with the camps, and
Yeah.
the guys have been off, so it's a tough one. But based on what I know of them in the last season and whatnot, I think Allen's a great goalie, but Binnington did it already, so I'd go with him simply because of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know how he's playing right now, but that's what I would do. And with I liked how Francouz played when I used to watch him. So I throw him in the net. But I mean, like that's such a tough question, because I'm not their coach or their goalie coach, and I haven't been with them. So hopefully they're all four of them are ready to go, because I think in this playoff with all the teams, you're going to see a lot of the goalies play.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we learned in this playoffs, and I said it earlier in the show, was that the refs definitely miss blowing their whistles, because they're calling everything, and it's not bad. At least they're not ticky tack. They're calling straight up penalties, so I give them that. But they sure missed hearing them whistles. On the power, has a goalie on the power play. Tell me how a penalty kill. You're on the penalty kill. How do you help direct the defense?
More try to be the eyes in the back of their head for them. So as you play, and the longer you get more comfortable with it, you know where they can't see, what they're not seeing, and kind of help them out in that way. You don't necessarily guide them, because there's especially in the NHL, they know what they're doing, but they don't know behind them sometimes, and you can help guide that way, and especially with traffic. Whether you want guys moved or to leave them alone and things like that. But if they can see whatever's in front of them, they usually have a pretty good idea of what to do. But it's usually be the eyes in the back of their head.
So kind of a I got your six type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's
Dusty, go ahead.
It goes both ways, like there's sometimes stuff off to our sides that we can't see, and there's communication going back and forth, but that's how I would analyze it.
Oh, no, and that's great. I really appreciate it. Dusty, thank you so much for stopping by the show, and I do want to have you back on and go over your career and talk more about goalies and things like that. I think it's fun to have an expert like you and a former goalie coach to help the fans of this show learn more and be better watchers of the NHL.
Cool. Anytime, man. Anytime.
Well, thank you so much, Dusty. This is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, saying aloha, mahalo, and I'll catch you on another BlueNote Fan Report. Well, Dusty, thank you for talking to me. That was a great experience talking to him. I learned a lot. You know what? I started it with this, and it's time for Fan of the Game. About the fan segment, let's talk about our Fan of the Game. Today, my Fan of the Game is Kelly Elizabeth. Kelly Elizabeth is a St. Louis transplant. Kelly found the Blues in 2006, and she just fell in love. She fell in love. She became a huge fan of hockey. Some of her favorite players are McCachran, Dunn, Bennington, Blaze. She's also a fan of a European hockey team. I'm sorry, I can't say the name of it. Dergarden, I think. She's a great fan. I've been talking to her a lot. She knows her hockey. She knows it. Kelly, please take my thank you for being my Fan of the Game. Now, it is time for Tattoo of the Game. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to frickin' stare at this thing. This is one of the best, most elaborate tattoos I've ever had. This tattoo is on David Wilkes. He got it done at Twisted Tattoo in San Antonio, Texas. You know what? It would almost be worth going to San Antonio to get this type of work done. Oh my goodness, look at this. He's got Busch Stadium at the top, the arch, then he has the arena, the gloves for fighting, the Stanley Cup, and then the Enterprise Center. On his other arm, he's got all the trophies and Old Busch. I got to tell you, David, this is freaking fantastic. This is what a tattoo of the game should be. This is what you should get on your arm if you want to get a Blues tattoo. Man, I absolutely freaking love this. This is spectacular. David. Oh, and it was done by Yomari Medina. And she's a great artist. Yomari, great freaking job, man. When I get my Blues tattoo, or if I get one, I may have to come see you because that's some damn good work. Woof, 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 woof. Pet of the game. And today I have a Staffordshire Terrier who was born on Easter Sunday. And his name is Sonny, after Oscar Sundquist. Sonny is a tough little guy. He's still young. His sister Lexi and him play all the time. They love wearing their Blues jerseys together. You can see in this picture here, Sonny's he may not be the biggest of his breed, but he's a ball of energy. She's a ball of energy, and no back down in her, just like Oscar Sundquist. This Sonny mom and Lexi's mom is Amber Ingers. Amber's been trying to get Sonny on for a while, and I just had had to get things done right. This was the right time. It is time. Unbelievable. Well, guys, this is a great show. I can't wait for the start of this game. I can't wait to get the show uploaded. You know what? This is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, saying aloha, mahalo, and you know what? I'm bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues. I will see you on the next Blue Note Fan Report.